black and white. So it's simply the structure and the people. And you can see how they're interacting. One person is leaning on the structure, which is the person to your right. And then in the middle, the arc where you walk through, someone is sitting and thinking. So it felt like a moment in time where an iconic structure that's supposed to remember the past is being interacted with people right now who might not even know the significance of what that is supposed to mean. So yes, that's why I really like this picture. It was an opportunity that I did not miss, and I'm really grateful for it. So since we are now, Shola has handed over so I can start the live masterclass. Let me load up my folder. Sorry, just give me a moment. Okay, so can everyone see my screen? Okay. So phone photography, it's basically taking photos with your phone and making sure they look nice, basically. And being that in an environment that is purely chaotic, using your phone to take photos is so easy and so convenient. Everybody has a phone, which is really helpful, especially if you want to start getting into photography. It's a good place to start. So for today, and with the time that we have, I just wanted to highlight 4 or 5 things that we can do to take better photos on our phone.
Sorry, you're still showing the cenotaph.
Oh, okay. Sorry, let me change that up. Just give me a moment. So, can anyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, what we are doing today is, I just want to make it as short and brief as possible. So, we'll be basically looking at simple things that we can do to take better photos, checking your phone settings. If you're trying to capture architecture, what you should look out for. If you're trying to capture nature, what you should look out for. And editing in Lightroom, because I feel it's one thing to take photos, another thing to edit them to how you envisioned it to look like, which is very important. So can everyone see what's on my screen now? I think that's the intro page. Can everyone see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. So starting with basics, the phone you have is your best tool. I currently use a Samsung A50. It's like a mid-range budget phone. And I really enjoyed it, and that's the reason why I bought it. A lot of phones right now, even the budget ones, have very good cameras. But you have to understand your camera, know what it can do. There are some photos that you can't take with your phone camera because it's not sensitive enough to light. Like in the example on this intro page, you can see that it's a lot of the image is in shadows. And it was probably taken with a very high quality film, such that it was only the highlight, which is the center of the image, and your eyes are immediately drawn to it. So understanding what kind of photos your phone can take and how best to utilize it is a very important first step. So learning to see, finding your style. I think learning to see is the basic thing. How do you see your environment? How do you see shapes? How do you see patterns? How do you see the people in your environment? How do they interact with the environment is key. You don't just, yes, it's easy to take up your phone and just snap, but what is in frame? What do you want to take out of frame? And what story are you telling with the image you've taken is very important. And one thing that just differentiates you from taking images and being purposeful about it is understanding what is in frame and what is out. Like Olajide shared, Ione shared earlier, he had an image that had people in his silhouette, and the university gate, which is now under construction, is in the middle, in the center. So he chose to frame his shot and put every other thing in the foreground in shadow and leave the main focus of the picture in the center and well lit. So he chose that frame even though he was unconscious, which is very good, and and you can tell that he has been doing this for a while. He knows what to put in frame and what to leave out of frame. Then also working with white space. That's another thing. Give your subject room to breathe. Sometimes it's not possible. Like if you're doing cityscape shots or urban shots, it's not possible to give your object breathing space. So then you now have to be creative. How do you use the elements around, the chaos around, to frame and to tell a story? Do you let the foreground speak? That means it's brighter, or you let the background speak, which means your foreground, what's in right in front of the camera, falls into shadow. Which is a very, very, very nice technique to use, especially with your phone. Second, another important thing, which is like the fourth one, is looking out for visual guides. Leading lines, frame within a frame. Maybe you are taking a photo of someone through a window, if it's in an urban context, or taking photos of someone within an archway or a doorway, like how I did for the cenotaph. It's a nice way of framing and also making sure your viewer doesn't miss the subject, which is the whole essence of composition and framing. Making sure whoever is seeing your image knows what they're supposed to be looking at. Because I think that's one thing a lot of people complain about. They really love an image, but they don't understand why it doesn't come out as well as it should. Because the viewer, if you don't explain, doesn't know what they're supposed to be looking at. So that's an important thing. Visual guides, framing, then that goes into composition. How do you frame your shot? How do you isolate your subject? Do you use leading lines? Do you use the frame itself? Maybe you're using road markings, maybe you're using the lines on the wall or texture, just so you're guiding the viewer to where you want their eyes to see. The best images and the nicest images for you to see, or when you scroll on social media, is images that is very obvious what the subject is. You're not thinking about it, you just see it and you like it. But when your eyes start to roam all around the screen, you lose interest because you don't understand what's going on in the image. So next point is your phone. How do you set your phone up to take photos, which is pretty important. So I would like someone to interject or add to this. If with your present phone, how long have you been using it? And what did you notice between did you have download apps on it, or you've been using your default camera? Because that's one of the things that people are confused about. Do they need special apps? I'm of the opinion that you can use your default camera, but some people do like using secondary apps to take photos. So maybe someone can suggest an app they use when they are taking photos with their phone. Is anyone who wants to add to what I'm saying? Sorry, are you guys with me?
We're here. Please unmute. Maybe you just call somebody out. I do that.
Okay. Okay. Aura, I know you take photos with your phone. So what app do you use? Do you use the default app on your phone, or do you use a secondary app?
Yeah, okay. So to be very honest, I think I do about 90% of my pictures on my DSLR and my drone.
Okay.
Yeah, but the
Okay.
other 10% probably my phone. I mean, cases where I don't want to lose that opportunity. Well, I mean, starting up, it was all with my phone, and then I usually would do phone apps and
Like,
cases where
do you have an example of phone app you use so other people can be aware of it as well?
I use Lightroom, the mobile app.
Okay.
Yeah, the mobile app. Then there are
Do
cases where
you,
okay.
yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so there are cases where I actually would, because I'm more comfortable with okay, I think this discussion is directly focused on
Yes,
mobile.
yes, on phone, yes.
Let
So
me
I
look
just
at
wanted to ask what
yeah.
app, if you are using your phone, because I'm sure there's some scenarios where you had to use your phone. You couldn't bring
Of
out your
course,
drone. Yeah, yeah.
Lightroom
Okay,
mobile
all
app
right.
does it well.
Yeah, that is actually what I use as well. Thank you for that. Sorry.
Yeah.
So for people who are not familiar with Lightroom, it's an Adobe product, and they have a very good camera. The app is very good for editing and also taking photos. If you choose to use the Lightroom to take photos, it does use your phone camera very well, and you can do extra. You have extra settings you would not get if you're using a default camera app on your phone. So testing your phone to understand what default modes are, maybe you need an app, that's one thing. Second thing is enabling the grid mode on your phone. The grid, for people that are not familiar with it, is like the image in the bottom right. It's basically a set of three lines that divide your screen. So putting your point of interest or your focus either on the intersections or right in the center or on one of the lines is a good way to focus your image and help you frame better. So it's a default setting on most phones. You can go into your settings, open up, and you can enable the grid mode. So anytime you open your camera app, it just comes on and it's easy for you to frame without you having to think too much about it. Then one other point is testing your camera in different lights. If you don't test out your camera when it's dark, when it's bright outside, indoors, you will not understand how your camera reacts. Because the thing with phones is there's so many phones and so many sensors on phones. Some sensors are really good and some sensors are not so good. So knowing your phone, knowing how well it takes photos in the dark, when it's light outside, if it's cloudy, would help you understand how to use your phone. Like the image in the top right is a silhouette image, something that most phones can do very well. But not all phones will be able to give you detail. Like, you can see it's raining and you can see the detail on the floor. Not every phone will be able to give you that detail. So you need to understand how how your phone sensor sees light. And then you can now understand better what scenarios would work best with your phone, or what scenarios even if you try to take photo, it might not work out so well. So next point is capturing architecture. There are so many ways to capture architecture, and being that a lot of people here are architects or photographers, I'm sure some people can attest to the fact of looking for patterns is the easiest way to photograph architecture. There's any building there's always a repeat of patterns. Maybe it's the window, maybe it's in the tiling, on the wall, or maybe it's a design feature. Patterns are like the easiest thing to really see and understand in architecture. And doing that can help you just take really nice photos, look for patterns. Patterns translate very well, and you will not need to look too much to see what you really want to see. Another way of taking architecture is abstraction. That means you're only taking a portion of the structure. So it gives you a very light, airy feel, like an image on the bottom right. You know it's part of the structure, but you don't know where, you don't know what the building is for, but you understand that it's simple, it's easy on the eyes, and it's architecture. That's another style of taking photographs, which is something I do as well. I do abstraction a lot because it's easier to take photos of parts of a building, especially in Lagos, and you know that you're not going to be dealing with a lot of things post-production. So, Shola, can you give us any other ideas on how to take architecture with mobile phones? Do you have any other thing to add? Maybe just a point? Because I know you do take photos as well.
Wow, you just set me up. Olamide. Well, similar to what you said about patterns, what I also think about, I don't take that many pictures, Tolu, and it's been a while, but what I also like to see, in the few cases where there are actual straight lines in a building, and and there's what I'll call cross-referenced lines, where maybe some lines in let's say the X-plane, after going all the way down, they meet up with some other lines in another plane, maybe at the corner of a building, or maybe how the lines in the building meets up with the lines of the landscaping of the earthworks, and things like that. Always finding how different perspectives meet is also a good
Yeah,
way
that's a very good
to capture something interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something Ore does with his drone photography. Even though he's not connected today, he always looks for lines that intersect, lines that define the environment. You can also translate that into what you can take from ground level, like you said, taking building details where textures meet lines and things like that. Thanks, Shola. Thanks for your addition, even if you're not very photocentric. Okay, so the next topic is capturing nature. I think everyone can attest to the fact that nature is like is one of the first things people shoot when they get a phone or get a camera. Flowers, tiny objects, things that nature is all around. You can't run out of subjects to photograph in nature. Like the image in the middle, top middle, top middle, yes. It's a simple image. When you go to the market, you go to the grocery store, you see fruits, objects, things, and the colors are always beautiful to see when they arrange everything neatly and right next to each other. So nature is very easy to photograph. Flowers, clouds, very, very easy. They are very close to you, so you can actually take your phone and go closer, which is one of the subtopics in this. Move closer to your subject, because nature is wide. Your phone will not be able to get everything in frame, so it's always nice to focus on something in particular in that environment. It just takes your photos to a different sphere of viewing, because focusing on one thing at a time in a photo makes the viewer enjoy the photo more. You know what you're taking for. You're not hunting around in the image. So going closer, even if you have to maybe get on your knees, just take that particular thing. Maybe it's a plant, maybe it's an insect or an animal, getting closer will give you a different perspective, because we all know we can't use the zoom on our phones. Our zoom is our feet. So getting closer to it would give us new perspectives and also make it easy to see and understand the textures and what makes up that thing you're photographing. So next point is editing in Lightroom. Yes, we've taken photos on our phone and we are now left with raw images. How do we now convert what we've seen or imagined, what we've taken, and then into a final product? Because believe it or not, on every image sharing app, it's rare for you to see unedited images because they're never really pleasing to see, because the colors are dull or it's not as sharp as you want it to be, or you just need to remove some things from the image. So most images are edited. And as Ore said, he uses Lightroom, which is a very, very good app and a good segue into us, even if it's a few minutes, looking at how I edit a particular image in Lightroom. So if I will just check this, I want to play a video because I pre-recorded it of a space I took 2 days ago, and just to see what it really is to edit a space. In, so can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me just confirm that. Can you see editing on my screen? I want to play a video so everyone can see and hear it clearly. So, sorry, can everyone hear what I'm playing?
No, can't hear at the moment.
You can't hear? Well, I've just paused it so everyone can hear and see. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'll play it now so you can see how I edit a sample image in Lightroom.
No, sorry. I think Tolu, I think you have to select
Yes?
the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do that so that okay. Sure. Okay, can everyone see what it's
Yeah,
what
so
I'm
maybe you
doing?
can start again. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Can you hear? No, no sound. Oh, okay. Okay, can everyone hear what I'm playing?
No sound.
Oh, okay, still no sound. Let me try and fix that. good to okay. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Saturation of the colors a bit. Freezing for both the orange and green. Freezing for filling a bit. Luminance will bring down the green a bit more. Then we go to that's done. Then we go to vignette and effect. Just like I said previously, just with the clarity, texture, and hue. Then bring vignette and feather it a bit. So the next thing we're doing is sharpening, just a little bit, and then use the masking to eliminate it from everything but the edges. Bit of noise reduction, removing chromatic aberration, and let's compare before and after. So this is before and this is after. So it has a major difference. And another thing with the color correction, if you want to, wherever you place the pointer is where it would use as a reference point. So if you put it on orange, it would turn everything bluish. So looking for somewhere that you think should ideally be white will help you to tone every other image, every other color in the image. And we're done. So the same thing, you can also save presets. So create presets and title this container. Let's see. And that's it. So before and after. Just look that we created has made a huge difference in the image. And then we export to the device. And that's it for the second image. Shot that we're going to edit. As you can see, it's just default. There's no, it's all very typical of what you would take with your default settings on your phone. So the first thing is to copy in and align the horizon, let it be straight. And then maybe if you want to change the focus to something else. Because the sky was clear and there wasn't really any cloud formation, it's better I align the horizon to about 2/3 of the image. So you see the water is now more focused than the sky. So we crop in and we do our standard edit. So you can use the S curve in this scenario. Done. Then we adjust contrast, lift the shadows, pull down dark, and maybe touch up the exposure just a bit. Next is the HSL. So for what I want to do, first of all, do white balance. We'll look for something that should be remotely white in this image. Okay. Can use that point. Then we increase the vibrance and then saturation a bit. Then we're going to mix, and then now we can dial in more or less of saturation. Then bring down the luminance a bit. And also we want to highlight the greens, so we can go to this tab and brighten it up. also yellows. So we can bring out the brains in the shot. Then we're done with that. We go to our effects tab. So like I said before, texture, clarity, and dehaze. So this is what happens when you use too much dehaze. You can see it just ruins the image. But just enough takes it from it being just dull, which is here, to something a bit more punchy. We don't need a vignette in this shot. So the next thing is sharpening. Then we take down the radius and we mask out a lot of so it's just the edges that are highlighted. A bit of noise reduction because I was shooting through a window. It will be grainy if you zoom in very close. And then chromatic aberration. And as you can see now, this is before and after. The difference, the contrast is a lot, quite a lot. If you want to go back and change the hue of the colors, so we can do that. Tap hue. We can change it to a more different type of blue, more cyan. Then we can bring the saturation down a bit. So for this shot, we can do a bit more targeting, but in this shot, you can see that mostly blues are here. If it was that there were other colors, we are going to pinpoint and enhance just certain aspects of the image. And we are done. So this is before and after, before and after. So we export.
Hi everyone. So did we learn anything from did you learn anything from the video? Are you guys still with me? Yes, Deborah. Deborah,
Hi,
your hands are raised.
everyone. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for those videos. I learned quite a bit, but because it was moving a bit fast, I'll probably go and watch the replay. But the question I want to ask is, there's so many options in the settings, learning what, the implications of tweaking them are, like learning the meaning of saturation, because I think all of us have edited and used filters and, on our phone, but we never really settle down to go look up those words and things like that. So that's a question I have, learning the implication of all those terms, and how do how do you train your eye to know when it's just right? Like, I think this can be better, maybe I should move it a little bit to the left, because one thing I struggle with editing photos is I'm not sure. I don't want to over process them, but at the same time, I'm not sure it looks quite right. And at the end, it might now look probably to me, it will look probably a little worse than what I started with. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes I'm actually lucky. So it's like a gamble. So I don't want to gamble. So that's the question I want to. How did you learn? All of that.
Okay, yeah, you have a point. Sometimes it feels like it's a gamble because you don't know at what point is it now over processing.
So I learned that from taking images and editing. I think it's something you learn over time. And for your first question of how do you navigate all the settings? Because I went through it fast because of time. I can actually give links to videos where you can learn how to edit with Lightroom, specifically for mobile. So if you really want to edit and you don't know where to find the videos, you can send me a message on Instagram or later on, and I'll send you links to videos that you can use to learn how to edit in Lightroom. So does that answer your question, Laura?
Yes. So just to be
yeah.
clear, like, okay, your learning process, that's I think that's what you're about to talk about now.
Yes. It takes time because I can't say, oh, this is the definite way. Editing is a learned skill. It takes time. I would admit some of the images I processed the first time I was editing photos, they look horrible to me right now because I know I made the blues so vibrant. I over processed, over sharpened. It happens, but the more you do something, the better you get at it. So that's like the advice I can give. Try it. Maybe if you see a style of someone you know and you like, find out how they achieve that, and then you can use that as a springboard to finding how you edit and knowing when to stop editing and when to do a bit more. So does that answer your question?
Thank you so much. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, so does anybody else have any other question? Let me share my screen again so we can go back to the folder. So does anybody else have any questions? Okay, let me go over this. So can anyone see my screen? Composition tips. So can anyone see what I'm sharing right now on composition tips? Hi, Debbie, can you see what I'm sharing on my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I skipped over this for the video, but let's just go over this and then anyone can ask questions if they have any questions. So like I said, composition tips, because I think that is as important as taking a photo is, composing it is very important as well. And we talked about that before. So looking for symmetry patterns, exploring different types of composition. The grid that you saw me using is just one of the many ways to compose an image. There's so many others. But the grid is like the basic of it. And then getting closer to your subject and focusing on one subject. So with all that we've seen and the video and editing, does anyone have any other question on phone editing and editing specifically in Lightroom? So we can wrap up this live masterclass session. Does anyone have any questions? No questions from anyone? Okay, so I think this is like the end of the masterclass. I would hand over to Shola to help us close, and then if there's any other question or comments from the earlier class. Shola? Oh, I don't think he is online right now. Yes, Deborah.
Okay.
Okay, this is more of a general question. I wanted to ask it the first part of this. When Ife, Jide, and Ore and Mr. Theophilus were also speaking, but there was no time. But I think I can ask now. So I wanted to ask if any of you have considered like developing a photo book and the implications of that, like work on your own interest and then commissioned work. So some one challenge with that would be like intellectual property rights. Like there are some projects I know you would take that the client wants all the rights to go to them, and then you can't use them in publications and things like that afterward. But the main
Yes.
idea for this, I was thinking, was like documenting your own style, your own growth and development over the years. So just like the way artists develop their distinct style, and artists and musicians, some people can hear a classical piece and know who played it, or see a painting and know who painted it, and so things like that. So I don't know if you have considered things like that, or if you have think projects, a like personal project like that in the work, and you are intending to self-publish or something like that. So that's the question I wanted to ask.
Okay, that's a very good question, actually. And it's something I've thought about, but right now I don't have any intention of publishing anything for now. I don't think I have enough of a body of work to say I want to publish anything right now. Because if you are going to publish a body of work, it has to have there's a purpose, and then you have to have enough photos on that subject to be able to create and get the best images that tell the best story of that subject. So I think for now I don't have any intentions, but maybe later down the line. And then the second one of intellectual property, it's I'm sure there will be projects that I was commissioned for that I will be able to use. It's now an issue of client relationship. Are they willing to allow me to use those images for publishing purposes? And what was the agreement the first time, as in the beginning stages of the commission? So I think those two things will determine which images I can use. Which clients I can go back and ask to use the images, and which ones I know I clearly can't use the images. Does that clarify, Debbie? So it's like a
Yes, it does.
stage thing. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Debbie. So Shola, are you back on? I don't think she is back on.
No, I don't. I don't
Okay.
think so. But I think we can round up. So yeah, you can maybe say something to close.
Well, I think I've said everything basically in terms of taking photos with your phone, in terms of editing. Develop your eyesight. I think develop your mind. I think that's like a closing idea for everyone. It is what you see and what you can imagine that you can use your phone to take. Sometimes you do have accidental genius moments where you just snap without any prior direction and it turns out great. But most times, good images come from you conceptualizing or thinking about, okay, this is what I want to capture in this way, and then you look for opportunities. I think that's like a good takeaway for this session. Think about it, know how you want to capture it, because that would affect how you edit and then later present your images, if that's what you're going to either use for documentation or just for personal purposes.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Tolu. And thank you to all the photographers that joined earlier. It's actually been a really insightful conversation and masterclass. So, and thank you also to everyone who has joined in. I hope it's been helpful to you as well, and you've learned something, or at least taken something away from the discussion and the masterclass. So with that, I think we can say goodbye, and we will, of course, be in touch with you as the festival continues. So I hope you'll sign up to the next session, which is starting at 4:00, and it's on gender and the city, and gender and architecture. So we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.